Good morning, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and good night, everyone, wherever you are tonight, today, or this afternoon. Welcome to our presentation, September 2025, where we're going to go over performances, our numbers, our projections, and we're also going to hear from two of our more esteemed new vendors today, Beat Surfing and Dexibel. On a whole, would love to report that the year looks pretty robust. We're not seeing any cracks or any cause for concern, any dark clouds on the horizon. Overall, it looks like full steam ahead. It looks like we're going to have a pretty good year. It looks like this might also be a record year. It all depends, of course, on what happens in November of 2025. As I mentioned before, um, we always like to single out IMSTA. IMSTA is the International Music Software Trade Association. It has been a huge door opener for our industry, as has been XCHANGE. It allowed software to expand into some of our more esteemed organizations like NAM, like AES, like several of these organizations that have embraced software because of the work of IMSTA. We've also reached out to a lot of end users in 5 cities, 4 different languages, all over the world. I've been doing it consistently since 2007. And this, of course, has brought the end users and the manufacturers face to face. And this has been a great thing for pushing the message of buying software as opposed to using cracks. And this is a very important thing because most of us here, of course, make a substantial part of our living from the sale of software. And we asked everyone here to always support IMSTA. IMSTA is a nonprofit. It makes no money. It takes in whatever it takes in and it spends it, and then some. The rest of it is subsidized by people who donate their time and companies that give grants and so on. Today, as I mentioned before, we're going to have Beat Surfing. It's making some great multi-effects processors. They'll come on after I do my review. And Dexibel, which makes pianos, real digital pianos. And of course, now making a new plugin that is physical modeling in the new piano, which is quite spectacular. And they will come on after I do my presentation. All right, so let's jump right in. As mentioned before, the numbers are pretty stable. We're well on our way to, by the end of the year, having 10,000 unique products on the system. There are perhaps double that number of products, but many of them are derivative or products that are in what we call sub-vendor accounts. So for example, Avid has a master account that has Pro Tools, and it has a sub-vendor account which has basically a copy of Pro Tools. So we don't count the copies. We only count the individual products. And that is been increasing. At the end of last year, it was 8,000. And at the end of this year, I think we're going to get to 10,000. So that's 2,000 products that have been added on the system. The vendor count has been also inching up, as well as the reseller count. Now, periodically, we do purges. Some of you could remember we were well over 1,500 resellers at one point. We went through and purged a lot of resellers out of the system, inactive resellers. Got us down to about 11 or 1,200. Now that number is built back up again to 1,461. We expect by the end of the year probably 1,500, but we'll also do another culling before the NAMM show and probably get the number back down to somewhere around 1,300. What we're looking for is reality check on what a reseller means. If you haven't bought anything in 6 months, are you really a reseller? Maybe. If you haven't bought anything in a year, are you really a reseller? Maybe, perhaps. 2 years? Probably not. 3 years? Definitely not. So we get to certain points where those accounts just go dormant. They're never destroyed. They're just dormant, meaning we don't count them. The country count is pretty much the same. We haven't been seeing too much expansion in terms of the number of countries. I think 80 is quite a handful for a small team to manage. So the sales scenario, the sales picture is steady as she goes. The transaction count is up. It's not up 20%. It's up 4 or 5%. And in September, of course, it was a very big month. This month, it just still hasn't ended yet. It'll end tonight at midnight. Is the biggest September we've ever had. When we look at the September to the previous September compared to that previous September to the previous September, the transactions counts are steady. So we love to do that slide because it gives us a sense of what 12 months, the last 12 months were like, and what the previous last 12 months were like, regardless to which month we are in the year. And we like to compare those two numbers, and that again is showing pretty steady scenario. So it looks like all eyes are going to be on November this year to see what kind of Black Friday we're going to have. Right now, if we count from January to today, compared to January last year to today last year, the sales are up 2%. So that's probably based on some, I would say, some unusual months. We've had a big August, big June, and now a big September. There's been some hardware acceleration, some hardware sales that have sort of creeped into the numbers, not enough to move the needle, but quite significant. And perhaps that, with some of the great sales that we've had in the last 2 months, has pushed those numbers up. Now, when we dig in and look at the quarter, and this, of course, where we're going to anticipate what's going to happen, um, we don't have all the numbers, obviously, for Q3 because Q3 still has, several hours left to go, 14 hours to be exact. So we're estimating that, of course, it's going to be the biggest Q3 that we ever had. So we had a big Q2. We had this spectacular September, where things are up 6% over September of last year. And Q3 is up 4% over last Q3. So it's looking pretty good. There have been some new vendors that have entered the system in 2025. And this is perhaps the best cohort of new vendors that have ever hit the system. The new vendors are perhaps very well prepared by our team. Also, perhaps they have very good products. Also, perhaps the resellers are more welcoming of new vendors and take their products seriously. And I think the new vendors have helped the transaction count increase. Promotions have calmed down a little bit. We had, coming out of July, some really incredible promo numbers based on heavy June and heavy May, and that pushed those numbers for Q2 quite a bit up. But now we've seen promos come back to earth a little bit. It was 42%, now it's 36%. Because of this spreading out of this business, 66, actually exactly 2/3 of all resellers on the system grew their business so far in 2025, which is a great statement. Of course, we liked it to be 100%, but that's not really realistic. But we'll take 66%. Let's try to get it up to 80% by the end of the year. If 80% of our resellers are growing their business, that's a really good place to be. Now, we always like to track with the music trades numbers. The music trade numbers, the latest ones that we have, still show industry coming down from the buzz of COVID. And our latest numbers show that we're still accelerating beyond our COVID highs. So we've accelerated even more since the last time we met at the end of July. And we're now trending quite a bit above the industry average. So we're saying this to say that I'm preaching, of course, to the choir here. You all have already embraced software, but for those of you who are embracing it in a partial basis, I would say maybe double your efforts. This is a growth segment. The products are fresh, the products are new, the products are exciting, the companies are dynamic, the companies are very nimble. They could move left or right with just a stroke of a pen or a type of an email. And so this is the sector of the business that you want to be in, the dynamic section. The MI retailers, traditional retailers who have been trying to continue to perfect the old model of buying a whole bunch of inventory, putting it in a warehouse, and praying that it will sell. Now that strategy, perhaps, like I said, everything is possible, and it's always kind of worked out. But there's a chance that system might be chipping away almost by itself, and we will see something that's completely new and different that emerges. And I think you're starting to see some of the cracks that would sort of unearth what's going to happen next and what kind of format we're going to have next. Whatever format's coming next, we plan to be part of that, shaping that. Um, that's not bragging. We've been working very hard for many years, preaching actually the same thing. And to everybody that's here, you're already doing this, but you have to reinvent yourself. Uh, we keep saying it. We'll hammer it over and over and over again. Reinvention is survival. Stagnation is extension. You cannot stagnate. You cannot rest. You cannot sleep. You constantly have to evaluate your position. Look at where your business is. Look at where things are going. Listen to your customers. Don't even listen to me. Listen to the customers. The customers will tell you. Talk to your customers. They're the experts. Now we look at our top 3 vendors, and these are vendors that have been on the system for a long time, some of them from the beginning. These are some very professional companies. They are very strong. They're tightly integrated into Exchange. What do I mean by that? Well, if somebody changes the price in one product of the 9,800 products, they get a notification. If somebody adjusts a promotion end date, they get a notification even when they're sleeping. So they're tightly integrated. When somebody buys something from their website, they deliver the product within seconds of the purchase, and the customer can download and carry on. This can happen at 9 a.m. in the morning, or it could happen at 3 a.m. in the morning. They don't really care. That business is coming in even while they sleep. They know what promos are active, and they know what promos are coming. They could see price changes ahead of time. So any price changes in the system for the future, they already know about it. Their computers already know about it. This is the kind of integration we're really asking for more and more resellers to adopt. It's to me, it's a no-brainer. You let the computers do the work. Just set them up, thread it, and forget it. Okay. Despite all of that, the top 3, um, their share has dropped for the first time significantly. It was 36% last time we met. They've kind of recovered a little bit of that. They're still at 37%. My estimation is they can get back to 40% because they are very powerful and strong in the promotion side, and we're entering into that promo season. So don't start celebrating yet. I'm sure if you're one of the top 3, I'm not really talking to you right now, but I'm talking to everybody else. There's no need to celebrate. These are very strong. These are interim numbers. These are year-to-date numbers. They can change, and they can get back to 40 because they have not given up 40% share since 2021. They've been very strong and stable at that point. Our goal, of course, is not to have complete dependency on 3 vendors or 3 resellers. So our goal is to get them down to 30 to 33%, and we're succeeding in this effort. When you look at the top 10 dependency, we've also seen a rollback in there. Now this graph is a little bit sad, but of course it used to be way sadder. If we were having this meeting, for example, in 2016, 10 people took 90% of the sales. Now those 10 people take 54% of the sales. Our goal is to get this quite a bit lower, but you can see the trending is correct. And of course, this has to do with dependency. It has to do with sharing the wealth that's generated from software sales. Software sales are the easiest, best business that there is in MI. There's nothing better than having some automated system deposit money into your account without you having to import anything, without you having to buy anything, without to warehouse anything, ship anything. There's nothing better than this. And so we want more and more retailers to enjoy this privilege. We think it makes for a better industry and better customers, more satisfied customers. We want customers in more countries and more territories to have the ability to go on a website in their local country and transact in their local currency and in their local language and get products delivered in zero point 0.6 seconds, just like you can if you're in England or if you're in Miami or if you're in Japan. So we want all the services to be spread more and more around the world, and that's why you will see the top 10 continue to decrease, because our efforts in this area is not going to stop. Now, there's another issue, another factor, which is an element that kind of distorts this picture. These are not the same 10 resellers, but we just take the top 10 instantaneously when we do this number. And what that means is, because the composition of the top 10 has had some small changes. Some people that exit maybe are good in promos, and some that enter maybe not so good. However, the previous slide, the top three, they have been stable since 2020. There have been no changes in the top three resellers. Our goal is to get this under 50%. Now let's dig into the promotion side. Promotions are, we have the timestamp here of 2024. They were 40%. This was incredible. It's a record. It's never usually this high. So the green area, of course, this area here are the promo sales. And this is the non-promo sales of XCHANGE. And this is also, it depends on how you look at it, quite sad. The top three people last year took in 54% of this green area, which is a lot for three people to share, because it's millions of dollars. Okay. And we would like to, again, spread that out more and more and more. So in 2025 year to date, this is the picture. Now, of course, it's 36%. So it's the first time we've seen some kind of major decline. But again, year-to-date number, we don't have Q4, which is the big promo side, where the top three are very strong. So again, just like I said, there's no point in rejoicing this early. We're still in the third quarter of the football game. And, the fat lady has not sung yet. However, based on what we're seeing outside of the top 10 and in the emerging regions with the emerging resellers, it's quite possible that for the first time we'll see a major dip in the share. Now, when I say share, I'm talking a percentage of business. In terms of the actual dollar business, these resellers are not declining. Their business is growing. It's just other people are growing faster. So the top 10, of course, now they're sliding as well. They slid 10%, so 65%. They are usually 72%, or over 70 for sure. So these, again, are material declines. And the important thing, and the sort of optimistic thing, is we have massive increase in people outside of the top 10. So for a lot of people on this call, you guys are outside of the top 10. And, you're here, you're interested in doing better, you're interested in gaining more knowledge, you're interested in refining your processes. And we're happy to be here to share this with you and help you do more and more business. Please take what we're giving you. We can't give you, facts and figures, because we would be sharing confidential information. But we could absolutely share with you trends, and we can give you hint, nudge, nudge, tactics and practices that could really make a difference in your business. So really listen to what we say. The dealers and vendors that listen to what we say don't regret it. Now, for the emerging resale, this is a track of dollar sales, and those dollars are starting to move up again. There was a period where they stagnated. There was a massive increase after COVID during the 2020 and 2021, and we saw that kind of hold. And now it's starting to rise again, and we could see distinct indications that it might continue to rise, even with the onslaught of promos that are going to come in November. Okay, we expect this to continue to go up. So, and there are reasons for that. The composition, the new resellers are coming on the system, new products are coming on the system. The people outside of the top 10 are faster to adopt new products. These new products carry with them momentum. A lot of, what's new is in these new companies. and customers are always looking for something that's new. Okay, new is great. That's a great reason to talk to a customer. That's a great reason for a customer to act. And with looks like what almost 2,000 new products on Exchange this year. That's 2,000, or at least let's cut that in half. 1,000. Let's cut that in half again. That's 500 reasons to talk to your customers. That's more than one a day. So this is a segment that we're saying to you, please, again, listen to us. Engage with the new resellers, the new vendors. They might be small. You probably never heard of them, but their products are not small in mind. Their products are not small in the way they add value to the average producer. Okay, they're big in terms of what they offer. So these products, the new vendors also have new promos. These promos, again, been adopted. They've been exclusive promos. Everybody's getting better, and we're happy to see and happy to report these particular results. Now, again, as we said before, this is not over yet. We're in the seventh inning of a baseball game, and it looks like you're leading, but you're only leading by one run, and you're playing the champion. So they're going to have a chance to get an at bat. So we have to look at Q4. My spidey sense tells me that this is going to continue to rise. Now, if we look by region, because we always like to track what's happened regionally in terms of market share by sales. And as you can see, the United States market, which is quite stable, is, again, under pressure. Or we could look at it another way. The United States market's very stable, and the other regions are growing. Now, if you look, again, a timestamp back into 2020, everybody outside of these big four regions were 11%. Now everybody outside of those regions 21% of a bigger number. So in terms of growing, you're looking at 100% growth, or actually more than 100% growth outside of this region in 5 years. Now, if you're selling guitars, if you're selling drums, if you're selling brass instruments, if you're doing school music or whatever it is you're doing, I'm pretty sure you did not grow collectively as a segment of the MI industry 100% since 2020. This is why we say, again, the market for software is a strong market. It's a smart market to get involved with. If you're in a country where the piracy rate is high, that's like saying you live in a country where the sun shines or the rain falls. There's piracy everywhere, okay? Now, how do you think about pirates? Because we hear this all the time. Oh, there's piracy in China. Oh, there's piracy in India. Well, there's piracy right here in Canada. There's piracy everywhere. I live on a street. There's piracy on my street. What the heck does that mean? Who cares? There's piracy everywhere. You don't worry about that. That's like saying, a Porsche saying, well, our car is $100,000. And a lot of people can't afford it. So why don't we drop it to $10,000? Well, no, we're only looking for people that can spend $100,000. So you're only looking for people who could buy software. Now, you can't tell me that there are not people in every single country that can buy software, because I can log into several vendor registration databases and search by country and see 192 countries are having registrations. So there are people willing to buy software everywhere, and those are your customers. Worry about those people. Try to reach those people. Try to let them know that you have software in your country that they can transact in their local currency and in their local language. That's the only thing you have to do. Worry about the people that can afford Boeing 747s. Those are the people you're trying to sell the Boeing 747s to. You can't worry about all the people that can't afford Boeing 747s if you're a Boeing 747 salesman. Why would you worry about that? They're never going to be your customer. Worry about the people that have money and budget for 747s. This is what we're saying over and over. In your country, in your region, there are millions of people that are buying software. They're just not buying it from you. Now, some of these regions, as you can see, are very stable. Look at Germany, 10, 10, 10. They're growing on average. maintaining themselves. You look at Japan, Japan is surging. And that's because more and more Japanese resellers are delivering software digitally. Maybe it's just a late adoption situation over in Japan. Um, you look at the UK. The UK's kind of stumbled a little bit, but the UK has always been around, 10 to 12%. They're now 11%. We would see what happens in Q4 because what we know is the emerging side is rising. UK, USA, and Germany are pretty stable. But we know that the UK market, that slide is not going to be represented at the end of the year. They will recover because they have at least one reseller that we know about that really knows how to work promos. And we're heading into the promo season right now. Another way of looking at this is this slide over time. So these charts are represented in this sort of area chart to show what's happening in terms of growth in our share of the business. And the United States hit below 50 in 2023 and will never return to higher than 50%. I'm predicting this right now. We will never see it, the United States, above 50%. It will continue to slide, even though the market is quite stable. Emerging will continue to rise, and now is, perhaps as a group collectively, and emerging is everybody outside. This eventually will become very high, be 30 or 40%. It'll be quite significant. And we look at it across the board. This is the shape of the business, the dollar business. And this is why we say to everybody in emerging markets and some of these other markets, Japan, like for example, you see Japan is streaking right now. But the emerging market, which has, a lot of those countries outside of Korea, Canada, we're in that group. It's not emerging in a G7 sense, but it's outside of those big four. France is in here. We put Northern Europe as a group. They're in here. And you can see that they are absolutely rising quite steadily. Now, when you dive into that pink area there, the emerging, these are the countries that are represented there. And we have the Asian market in the red colors. We have the North American market in the green colors, the European market in the blue. And the Australia market is right in the middle there in that purple. Now, as you can see, the European markets, are battling with the Asian markets for dominance. So you can see roughly this segment here is all Europe. This segment here is all Asia. So Europe has come in with a bang. In the last, in this year, you can see France and Eastern Europe are really surging and taking away some share from the surging, what we call the tiger economies of Korea and China. Japan is usually thrown in there, but Japan is out of this mix. But you can see that although these markets are still growing, the European markets are growing actually faster year to date 2025. Okay. And this is a good sign. It means that, well, we know why, of course. We can only kind of give you a hint, but there are some motivated resellers in France. There are some very effective resellers in Eastern Europe that are. It's across 4 or 5 people, 4 or 5 companies are creating all this growth. It doesn't take a lot. In Korea, it's basically one company that created all this growth. In China, probably 3 or 4 create all this growth. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take 50 resellers. It takes 2, 1 or 2. If you're in one of these other regions, like one reseller could do it. It's software. There is no limit. You don't have to have a big store to accommodate all the people and lots of cash registers and lots of cashiers. No, you could scale. You could take 1,000 sales in a minute. China's still strong. Canada's still strong. They're holding steady, but you can see the real story for 2025 is Europe. Now, these are some things to for you to consider. We're seeing some major currency shifts. These currency shifts are likely to result in price increases in the near term, and definitely, if you look at 2026, it probably will be the year of price increases. Now, exchange is based on U.S. dollars. The currency at the root of most of the transactions are somehow always referred to U.S. dollars. It means vendors collect U.S. dollars from most of you. If those vendors are in Europe, as you can see, and their currency is euro, which is euro is this blue here, 11% up from where it was against the U.S. dollar in January 2025. So they're taking in less euros when they convert those dollars. So they'll have to adjust their prices to, sort of equalize the amount of euros that they need to operate in Europe, right? And so some of these companies, not all, but some of these companies will begin to adjust their prices. These prices are price adjustments are based on currency, and the U.S. dollar, for example, an average of 10-15% down against most of the major currencies. So for a lot of vendors who are outside the United States or who convert the dollars that you send them into their local currency, they're under a lot of pressure from their accounting people and from their shareholders, if you will, to you know maintain the amount of money that they're getting from you. So look for this to continue. It doesn't look like there's going to be any reversal of these trends. And like I said, just look forward. The price increases are in the system. So you can look into what we call future price increases. And future price increases will show you the time, the date, of course, but more importantly, the time when the price will change. And now we're in the promo season. Now, promo season is, we're early, we're still in September. So it hasn't started yet. It's going to start in November. It's going to hit a fever pitch around the 15th of November, 15th to 18th. You'll start seeing things happen. And it will continue into the first days of December, first 5 to even 10 days of December. You'll see this massive increase. Now, what does the increase look like? Well, we averaged the last 5 years monthly business, and this is what it looks like on average. On average. So whatever business that you're doing right now, it's not going to be double the business. It's going to be double and a half the business. If you're doing $1 million, you expect to do $2.5 million in November. If you're not seeing this kind of increase, you're not getting your share of this massive bonanza that comes every single November. And December also has a spillover effect of deals that hang over the month of November and continue into the month of December. So this is also a big month. All right. So a lot of our predictive modeling takes this into consideration. That's why we know pretty much what the year is going to be at any point during the year, if most things hold true. So you are hereby requested to, number one, do not curate. The worst thing you could do is continue the habit that comes from hardware, physical products, where you have to curate your assortment. Now, makes a lot of sense. If I'm a guitar salesman and I show up with 18 different guitar models to your store asking you to buy 10 of each, you have to curate. You have to you have to get a sense of which one you think is going to be most appealing, and you would buy more of those. And the ones that are more esoteric or less appealing, you would buy fewer of those. So you might not even buy them at all. You might special order them. That's, retail magic. That's management of inventory. That's intelligence. That's smart. That's what you're supposed to do, but not with software. Software, you don't have to stock anything. It's on consignment. It's on demand. So there is no reason for you to deselect products. Let your customers just don't buy them. But you should offer them. You're not in the business of choosing for the customers. The customers are in the business of choosing, not you. You're in the business of providing the choices. Am I right or am I wrong? You're in the business of providing the supermarket. It doesn't cost you anything more than just copy and pasting and putting something else up. So you should be looking at web assets. If the company doesn't have web assets, complain. Tell them to put web assets so you can copy and paste and put your stuff up. Right? You can even have tools that do it automatically. It's up to you. So please do not curate. A company comes out and they have 273 products. What do you care? Put them all up. Don't ask them, tell me which are the top 10 products and I'll put those up. That is a completely different mindset. That is a mindset that comes from hardware. Okay? That's like using hockey tactics in rugby. There might be some things that you could transfer, but rugby is rugby. Hockey is hockey. Leave hardware alone. Software requires a completely different mindset. Okay? Check the future promos. You gotta be fast. You gotta be first. Speed. We've shown you many times on this talk what happens after the release date, the decline in sales. Okay? Now, the demand and sales of a product on the first day, let's say it's 100. By the 10th day, it's 10. Let me repeat. The demand for a product on the first day, if we call that 100, meaning the amount of sales and energy and activity, by the 10th day, it's 10. If 20, that's a lot. That's a success. In the history of the product, going forward, it will never get back to 100%. Never. No matter what you do. Never. Knowing this, it is absolutely imperative that you catch the first minute of the release, not the first day. Because if we were also to measure the sales by the minute of some of these products, the sales in the first minute, well, I don't know how we'll do it, but we can do it, but it'd be very hard. But the sales in the first hour, let's make it like that course. You will never retain those sales again. If you come in even a couple hours late, you've missed the peak. So what does that mean? Pay attention, talk with your vendors, know what's going on, and be ready at the moment of the release, not the day of the release, the moment of the release. The product, a lot of products come out at 10 o'clock Central European time. That's 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sorry, you can't have any sleep that night. You got to make sure your stuff is ready to go. When all that buzz, people come to your website, there it is, they buy it. Speed. For this promo season, if you're going to catch 150%, don't curate, talk to your vendors, check, know what's happening, know all the future promos, and be fast. And when we say sync with launch, we mean sync with launch. New products that are coming out. New is great. That's an excuse to talk to your customers. New, new, new. What's new? What's new is almost like a greeting. What's new? Here's what's new. People buy a lot of things that are new because what we're selling is relatively inexpensive. They're buying it because they want to buy it. They're buying it just because. Now, when a vendor sends you an invitation, accept it. There's no harm. You don't have to sell a product, but at least have it available. A lot of you have invitations that are not responded to, not accepted. They're still piling up in there. Go in and just accept them all. What does it matter? They can't do anything. They can't force you to buy anything. But if you want it, it's available, right? And you have to do some work. It's not enough for you to put on your website. A lot of you think you can just put up a banner and wait. No, the companies that are killing, meaning they're taking, 54% of the entire promo business and splitting them on 3 of them. The reason they're so good is because they promote the hell out of the sales. They email you every day. Like you'll wake up a day, and before I can even turn on the light, there's an email from one of these guys telling me about a bunch of promos for the day. I open up social media, and then they're bombarding me all over the place. Okay? You go on their website, and things are flying in front of you. All the sales are happening. Some of them even have you on WhatsApp. Tell you about the sales. They promote the hell out of it. Now, when they do all that promotion, all they're doing is crowding out the rest of you guys. Nobody's hearing you. You have it available, but they got to their customer first. They actually got to your customer first, which is a tragedy. It's not enough to just put stuff up and sit. Okay? It's not. Anybody that gives you that impression is leading you down the wrong path. You have to do something. Promote the heck out of stuff. Tell people about it. The software customer wants to be told about it. I talked to one dealer that says, I don't like to bother the customers. It's not bothering them. It's providing a service to them. Rather than them looking, you're bringing the information to them. It's no different than the BBC. Like the BBC can have all the news alphabetically set up on their system, or chronologically set up on their website, or something very sort of automatic. But that would be a disservice to the people that come to their website. They put the biggest news at the top. They promote. They can't put the last thing at the top, or the thing that starts with A at the top. No, you promote the biggest thing. So you got a sale, you got to promote that. That should be the first thing people see on your website. This is happening. These are happening. Banners in their faces. People want to be told that this thing is on sale. They're not going to go to your website, but they'll open up their email. You bothering? What do you mean bothering them? If you're bothering them, they'll unsubscribe to your e-news. So what? Better for them to unsubscribe than to never get your product. And why are you worried about that? Like, has anybody ever died from getting an email? What kind of harm does it do? And aren't there remedies for if you're harmed by an email? It's called unsubscribe. So why are you worried about bothering customers? What kind of talk is that? That's nonsensical talk. Bothering. What do you mean bother? They want you to bother them. They're saying, well, you're not bothering me, so this person over here is bothering me. They got my money. How do we know this? Because we know all the resellers. We know all the tactics. And we're giving you a cheat code right now, and some of you are still saying, nah, I don't like to be bothered. Well, that's you, but you're not selling to you, right? I don't care what you think. I'm telling you what the customers think. Oh, no, my company has to. No, your company's not. Your company's there to make money. If you don't make the money, someone else will. If you don't serve the customers, somebody else will. And you cannot assume that those other people are lousy resellers. Some of them are very good. And if and when they're good, you will lose your customer. Because at the end of the day, they're not your customers. They're just customers. Now, I think we'll switch this up and bring some of our vendors in on this meeting. We're going to start with Beat Surfing. Now, Beat Surfing making some really, really interesting, cool products. And we're going to jump right in. At the end, I will come back after these presentations and we can have some Q&As. And we can answer some questions. I see there's one here. Jerry, today we have 3,500 software programs out of 10,000 euro. How can we increase the offering? Often vendors do not respond to our invitation. This is a great question. Before we jump in, let me answer at least one. This I respond by the 9-to-1 rule. Okay, 9-to-1. Anybody know what the 9-to-1 rule means? Please put it in the chat. Let's see if anybody can get this. Maybe we'll give out a free one of our mugs or one of our hats or one of our hoodies. Who knows what the 9-to-1 rule is when you're dealing with vendors? 9-to-1 rule. Type it in the chat if you know it, please. Because this is the answer to your question. 9-to-1 rule. The question was, I have 3,500 software listed, but there are 10,000. How do I increase the offering? Often vendors do not respond to our invitations. The answer is the 9-to-1 rule. Nobody knows what the 9-to-1 rule is? I'll give it another few seconds. Come on now. You can win a exchange hoodie if you know this. 9-to-1. Nobody knows the 9-to-1 rule. Okay, well, here it goes. Ah, very well. That's Peter. Josh Joseph. Exactly. Josh, I think you win. Now, a vendor, okay, there are 354 vendors on the system. There are 1,400 resellers, okay? So they potentially might have hundreds of other people that are hitting them up about something. And it's not personal. It's not that they're not responding to you. It's they only have, 8 hours in a day. And things get lost. You have to, on average, okay, everybody listen very carefully. On average, you have to send 9 requests to get 1 response. Okay, let me repeat. Okay, so we're very, very clear. And this is not for every vendor. If you're dealing with a system like this where there's so many connections, it's like a spider's web of connections between vendors and resellers. You have to send 9, on average, 9 requests to get 1 response. Now, if you already sent a request, then you have to move to other tactics. Email, telephone call, another email, another telephone call. Find out, email somebody else to the place. Maybe that guy's gone. You just got to be tactic. You got to go on Facebook, send them a message there. Go on Instagram, send them a message there. That's up to 5 I've already done. You still got to keep going. And when you get to 9 or so, it's almost certain you're going to get a response. All right, let's now move over to...
welcome. I'm Eric. I'm CMO over at Beat Surfing. We're kind of a newer company. We've been around for about 2.5 years now, and I'll just quickly show you a bit about where we came from, the products we have out, what we're up to, and some stuff we got coming up real soon. So I'll go ahead and get into it. Let's see here. So yeah, as I mentioned, we are a small company, and we actually started as a hip-hop crew. So I've got a little video. I'll just show a couple of videos to get us through this, and try not to bore everybody, I promise. Let's try that again. We are Beat Surfing, but we started as Hermelavi, award-winning musicians making music that push boundaries. But the tools to perform it live just didn't exist. So we built our own, Beat Fader on Max for Live, or the Beatboard, tools to break free from backtrack-based performances and allow all to truly perform music. We formed as a company and made our first product, which was an interactive fader cap. It was the start of something bigger. Touchscreens changed everything. Beat surfing went from a simple MIDI app to a full-fledged music-making app called Playground. We pushed the limits of performance from phones to half-pipes to even stadiums, and the world took notice. Artists like A$AP Rocky saw our vision. We regrouped, refocused, and started building tools that would change the game while collaborating with other great artists. Our plugins are just the first steps. We're working on tools that'll inspire and motivate creators to explore new grounds. Stay tuned for more. So I hope that worked all right a little bit. So that's how we started. We started making our own kind of tools to mess with things and build our own instruments, if you will, right? Mostly with like Max for Live, and it's a little bit distorted, yeah? I just turned it down. Does it sound okay now? Building our own sort of test tools and making our own instruments. So we formed as a company, and we brought on some different people from different sectors. So we really thought it was important to have artists on board. So we have a few kind of big producers in the pop rap world from France and Belgium, where we're from. And then later we moved to LA, where we met people like Shay Pope, who used to be the head of Good Music and also worked with Dre and has Grammys for things with Lauryn Hill and all of them. And then we brought in industry people because we don't know anything about the industry, right? We went from being a bunch of hip hop guys to actually making a company. So we brought on some XC level guy from Roman Pouillon from Native Instruments and Beatport, and then Matt Pelling, who was the founder of Plugin Boutique and CEO at the time, and Luke Cloud of Loop Masters joined, and now he's over there doing the Rhodes thing with the chairman there. So in that time, we've made 6 plugins, right? So that's been about 2 years. We've launched our 6 plugins. We've managed to secure spots in Andrew Wong's top 10 plugins a couple of years in a row. Our content's doing great. So every month we get about 2 million on a low month to 6 million views on our content, showcasing our plugins. And this last 2 years, we've generated over 2 million in sales. So we've actually been doing pretty well for a fresh new company. And this year, which will be more relevant for you guys, we have 2 new releases coming. So one should come out just at the 1st of November, if everything falls into place. And then we have 2 more another release that's a tool coming out a little later. So that's a synth and then a tool, but I'll get into that more in a bit. For bragging rights, we've been nominated for Best Innovative Plugin 2 years in a row, and we've had 3 plugins in the top 10 of Andrew Wong stuff. So our first plugin was a synth, and this was the idea that, coming from hip hop and beat making, we're tired of always trying to find the perfect snare. It's kind of the cliche, and going through folders and folders of samples and all that. So we decided to make a synth that would focus on building snares. So we have 7 different engines, but I'll just play a quick clip, just 30 seconds, to kind of show you what that's all about. So 7 Deadly Snares was our first synth that we came out with. And then we followed that up with a rompler. We were kind of learning our way to, trying out different styles of plugins, right? So one of the producers we worked with came up with this idea of a pen tapping plugin. I'll just give you a quick overview of that as well. And then we came out with Random. Random was our big seller, right? It was the one that kind of launched us into the stratosphere of sales. It probably made up for about 40% of our sales to date. It's still selling really well. Every day we make quite a lot of sales, especially on our own platform on it. And this was a synth, like a small bass synth. When we first created it, we made like hundreds of crazy parameters, and then we tried to figure out a way to kind of reduce that down into a small, easy, digestible thing. And I'll give you a quick overview from Andrew Huang to show you how that works.
This is Random. This is a synthesizer with not that many controls that are kind of like macros that control multiple things under the hood. And you've also got this XY controller, which controls a bunch of other stuff with the sound. Also, though, you can select between different types of matter, different types of blob. You can set the amount of deviation from your current sound and hit this randomize. The instability control is every time you hit a new note, how much will it randomize? If you're into this sound world, I cannot recommend this plugin enough.
Right, so yeah, that was our second one that we won quite a lot of little awards for. Sorry about that. And that was our first kind of big, super popular one. We had this one is a very strange one. It's called Beat Fader. The idea came about from playing hip hop shows where we were, standing there DJing while the other guy's rapping. Can't really perform your beats besides maybe on an MPC, but it's not very practical for touring. And so we were always wishing we had a simple way to play beats and kind of improvise while we perform them on a mixer, right? So we did the idea of where you kind of assigning, for lack of a better word, a kick on the left, some shakers and hi-hats in the middle, and a snare on the right. So I'll give you a quick little demo video of that. So certainly a very novel, kind of niche, weird tool. You can do weird things with it. Of course, you can assign external gear, and like this example where I just used my TS9 to or TS8S to make like as a MIDI controller, really. So I threw some like arps on one side, some bass, and then some drums on the other. So I'll give you a quick little demo, just a few seconds to show you how that works. So yeah, definitely a unique, weird little tool, a niche little tool. And then we followed that up with Random Metal. So Random Metal would be our second best-selling, and even again to this day, it sells quite a lot. Random Metal was when we were working on that first synth, yeah, all of that synth was like a low-end kind of focused thing. We made so many different engines, and a lot of them really lent themselves to percussion sounds, right? So we started to kind of toy with that. So over the year, we came up with about 120 different percussive synth engines, and then we whittled that down to like our favorite 20 that kind of made the best idea for a drum synth. So yeah, I'll just give you a quick demo of that as well and an overview.
This is Random Metal. It's a unique drum synth that generates percussion sounds perfect for adding character to your production. With over 20 different synth engines, Random Metal covers a wide range of percussion: kicks, snares, hi-hats, shakers, cymbals, claps, and more. Hit randomize and let the plugin generate fresh percussion sounds that instantly fit in your mix. The XY pad tweaks hundreds of parameters in one move, giving you precise and fluid control over your sound. Turn any sound into a playable instrument with key tracking. Perfect for percussive leads, plucks, or unique melodic textures. Save time, explore new sonic territories, and find your perfect sound.
So I think if you see a theme, a lot of our stuff, right, we try to look for those happy accents. A lot of our stuff is based on not expecting something really and trying to find and explore and find new ways to both play it and then, of course, new sounds, right? Like with our random stuff. And even the Rompler we showed had a lot of randomization in there that you can do. And so then our latest plugin we made was Shay Pope. As I mentioned before, Shay's like a OG in the industry. He more recently was the head of Kanye's Good Music and even his Adidas label, like doing the business side of that. Yeah, so Shay had the idea. He's a real pedals guy, and he loves to just run, make these crazy stacks of pedals and run all sorts of things through it. So we had the idea of, what would be different with a multi-effect. Being a small company too, all this stuff we make has to be unique, has to be different. So with cheat code, we started thinking about the idea of parallel and changing the way you can go between the things, right? And then of course we had to come up with unique things on everything, and we ended up with this real crazy monster of a multi-effect. That's our current most recent plugin that came out about 3 months ago. And I'd say that's now one of our top sellers. It's still maybe not as reached the peaks of random and random metal, but it's still, yeah, still doing wonderful. And so I'll give you the quick overview of that real fast.
It is designed to, for inspiration. It is designed to innovate an idea, to elevate an idea. It's instant gratification. It is instant inspiration. It is spontaneous combustion. It is all of these things. Just that fresh and innovative perspective is what's necessary to me when it comes to creating music.
All right, so Shay pretty much set it up. I mean, that's kind of the whole focus of all of our plugins. So the thing I wanted to get to that was interesting is our new plugin format we've been working on. So all of these plugins we've been making have little technological steps to get to this, as we're calling it internally, play-in for now. You can see it in a lot of our past things, from making MIDI controllers with touch screens and focusing on the touch and the improvisation and bringing back the performance into the studio. Because a lot of guys, if you've sat in on, especially with the hip hop world and the studio sessions the last 10 years in LA, it's like everything is, click, program some drums real quick, and then they call in the guy who can play melodies, who can actually play an instrument. When, of course, in the 80s and 90s, everyone could play an instrument, from the engineer to everybody. It's really changed, right? So we're trying to bring that kind of improvisational performance back into the studio, and of course back into the live playing with that. So play-in, it's really actually a new plugin format. There hasn't been a new plugin format in a long time, but one thing that's key to it is that it will kind of bridge the gap between DAWs, controllers, especially with the new MPE MIDI stuff, touchscreens with mobile devices. So it kind of unlocks new workflows, if you will. Yeah, you'll be able to design your own kind of playable instruments and things, and also use third-party plugins, old plugins, new plugins, and make these kind of dynamic connections, which you can never make before. There's not too much I can show right now, but I do have a little video I made with FKI First. He's one of the producers, then our investors. I'll just show you that.
There's plenty of ways to use beat surfing, but it's just something that you can use with any DAW, any situation, performance situation, live situations. The artist can fully perform. From live to performances to percussion situations to it being able to pull up in every DAW and everyone uses it. Like that's and I see you going even further than that. I'm speaking from the top of my head. Like I love this.
Yeah, so in our opinion, I mean, there's really been no new. I mean, of course, we have MPE, we have some interesting things from like Abod Me and those guys, but there's not been a new way of controlling and creating for a long time. Video games have gone crazy with aftertouch and their controllers and all this super, super deep tech, but really, we have MIDI keyboards, MIDI pads. It's really, really basic. So the kind of bring on the MPE stuff is a perfect timing for the things we're working on. And we've been kind of testing a lot of stuff, and with our new office in LA, we've been networking a lot with different producers and getting them in on the kind of prototypes and testing. And so I just threw up some quotes I got from some guys last week to talk about the things we've been working on. But yeah, that's pretty much it from us. Like I said, we have a new synth coming out in about a month. Hopefully, you know how these things go. It could be delayed, but we're aiming for November 1st, right there for the promo season. And then another tool coming out for keyboard players in December. Yeah, we're always down to do promos. We're a tiny company. There's only 8 of us. Most of us are based in Belgium. A couple of us are in LA, doing the networking thing out there. And yeah, we're always, just give us a shout, if you have any questions or if you'd like to sell our stuff. We're actually doing, I feel like, quite well for a new company so far in XCHANGE. We've only been on there a couple months, but things are rolling. And if anybody wants to try any of the plugins, please reach out. You can find me directly. My contact details are in there in XCHANGE. So love to hear from you guys, and I'd love to start selling on some more vendors. So yeah, thanks for having me, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
All right, you guys can hear me. So I was just saying we need the decibel to know if they're ready to go.
Hi everybody, can you listen me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting Decibel. Decibel is based in Italy. Let me share my desktop. Okay, let me give you a small presentation about Decibel. Decibel is on the market since 2016 and is a well-established brand for hardware product. We have 6 products in home categories, 6 on stage related to digital piano, 1 module and 1 digital pipe organ. So a total of 14 physical hardware instruments. Decibel is well known for making piano sound very close to a real acoustic piano. Now we bring that sound to our first virtual instrument, the T2L piano. Let me give you a short example and short explanation about the T2L piano. Is based on an hybrid system between sampling and modeling technology. So in our VST, you can get 8 different piano models for a total of 38 patches in just 5 gigabytes. This is something unbelievable because with a very, very high quality, you can handle all this piano just in 5 gigabytes, and you will see how you can change easily between different sounds. But let's go quickly to some unique points. Our key points are up to 30-second full range stereo sample per note. We run 24 bit at 48 kilohertz with unlimited note polyphony. Then we have a seamless change of sound and effects. It means you can play a sound with one effect, you can hold this sound, change the patches, you get new sound and new effect without erasing the previous one. Then next is the modeling interaction. So while you are playing, depending if you play legato, staccato, if you play and use the pedal, you get some kind of resonances, you get some kind of things that are generated by the modeling system. Low RAM and low CPU usage with no compromise on sound quality. It means you can run this app in a slow computer, but also if you have a very important project with many tracks keep going, this VSD doesn't take a lot of RAM and a lot of CPU power. We have a true dynamic expression at 24-bit resolution. So now let's move directly live to check the app. So this is the standalone version, and you can see that is completely resizing. And one good point is that you have all the important parameters in the same page. So it's very easy and dandy to modify the sound in real time. So if I play directly on the keyboard, you get now the sound, and you can change sound from here, and you can see nothing change until I play the new one. So this is the felt piano we call memory. Or you can go into directory of the piano and change from a variety of patches, for instance, ragtime, or an honky-tonk piano. Now, if we want to have a quick look about the editing feature, we have what we call our T2L modeling. This gives the possibility to increase the resonance of the strings. So for instance, if I am pressing down some keys and play what is called the sympathetic resonance, I can increase this resonance. Or the damper resonance, so when you play in this region and you press the sustain, you get this resonance, but I can of course increase, and this is done by modeling. Then we have several noises like the hammer noise, so you get the thump of the hammer, and of course you can completely erase it or adjust as you like, as well as the mechanical key off. So when you play and release, you can get the mechanical noise and the noise of the damper that can be also increased and changed. Then let's look on the layout. You can adjust and you can load several velocity curve, and you can edit by your own very easily. So you have the note here, and you can change in real time the curve of the velocity, and so you can save it and adjust for any type of master keyboard you are using. Speaking about DSP, we have an ambience section here where you can select several type of ambient already preset, but of course you can edit all single parameter of this ambience, as well as 3 independent dedicated effect. So finally you can have 3 effects plus the ambient together with this app. Now I want to show you one thing running with Logic. So I want to open a Logic project where I have an already recorded MIDI part. So this is the T2L also resizable here. Now if I run the MIDI part, I can show you what is unique on the decibel. That is, now I'm running. So imagine you are a composer, you want to try the best sound for your music. You can change in real time the sound without zero loading time, zero glitch, zero drop of the effect. So you have completely all the sound changeable in real time. And of course, this is also for the effect. So imagine you want to make a very nice felt sound with a lot of reverb. So I'm doing everything in real time without any bad or side effect or glitch on the sound. This is unique for the type of piano plugin. As a end of my presentation, let me share the video presentation of the T2L VST, where you can see the studio where has been recorded with all the microphone, the ambient and the stuff.
Decibel Virtual Instrument T2L Piano. The art of the acoustic piano, now a Decibel plugin. From the all-Italian technology of Decibel, the brand that redefined the standard of home and stage digital pianos, comes the T2L Piano VST, the first plugin powered entirely by Decibel's true-to-life, T2L technology. The Decibel sound, without compromise. Each note has been captured with absolute fidelity using world-class microphones and preamps. The goal? To reproduce not just the sound, but the breadth and intention of a real concert grand piano. Advanced memory and CPU optimization. Efficient memory management is key, not just for users with less powerful computers, but also for those working with complex arrangements and multiple instrument layers, where every bit of RAM and CPU counts. For producers, composers, and performers, Decibel T2L Piano, where sound comes to life.
Okay, this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please.
There was a question in the chat, Luigi,
Yes.
about how the copy protection work, and do you have trials?
Andrea, can you answer as a software guys about the copy protection?
And I must say, the sound of the piano is beautiful.
Thank you.
Well done, guys. Well done.
Thank you.
So yes, there is of course copy protection that is based on a registration. So the user have a username and a password, and the first time the plugin runs, the plugin asked for a username and password, and after that the plugin is registered and the copy protection is applied to the plugin. So you cannot move the plugin to another PC without it will not run. It runs only on the plugin when you have registered the software. And the question is, do you have trials? Formally not, but you can download the T2L Piano from the website, so you can install it. We have a demo version, so you can work with the plugin and listen the sound with the MIDI keyboard. So basically, there is of course some limitation on the demo version, and if you like, you can buy the full version.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for the explanation. Fukashi asks, what is the main limitation of the demo version?
Okay, I can answer you now. There is a limitation on the middle octave. I mean, the plugin is full working, but the middle octave is not working. Now there is also a limitation on the velocity of the reaction of the velocity, but in the next version we are going to make a full velocity working. So only the central octave will not play in the demo version. This is the limitation.
Okay.
Do you have an FR version for Authorize and here? Of course, you can write an email to our Decibel, and we will give you an FR version of the plugin. So you can make a full test, a full review without any limitation with an NFR version.
Again, to wrap up, guys, we're heading into the promo season. There are perhaps a few promos for Black Friday already on the system in your future promos section. Please look there. If you don't see anything, maybe reach out to some of your vendors. Find out just get an early warning. Find out what's coming down the pipe, and get yourself ready. Based on the numbers that we've seen so far this year, it is reasonable to predict that this might be a very big season for sales and promotions. It might actually even be the biggest Black Friday season ever. It has to beat the 2023 Black Friday, which is the biggest one ever. And so get yourself prepared. You guys, some of you have been coming to these meetings for a long time. A lot of things you already know, put them into place, put them into practice, so you can reap at least double. Your goal should be really to double your business, your normal flow of business in the month of November, and to have at least 50% more business in the month of December. If you're seeing those, you're at least getting something. If you see 150% increase, then you're probably at par. If you see a 200% increase, you're gaining more than your share. So those are the ranges, okay? And these are facts that have been repeated every single year since we started doing this, going way back to 2013. All right. So thank you very much. We are done for today. Thank you for staying with us. We got 41 people still on here. Thank you for staying with us, and we will see you all next month. Next month will be an even more critical meeting because we're going to be closer to the big month. I don't believe we'll have a meeting in November. We may not. It depends on how the Tuesdays fall, but we will try. But yes, let's get ready. It's going to be a good year. Thank you very much for all your support for XCHANGE, and we'll see you all next month. Okay? Thank you, guys.